Everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I thought I would give you some of my best tips for working with Deliveroo. So these are tips I've picked up within the sort of 2 weeks. Obviously I'm not a master at it or whatever, but I feel I have got a pretty good grasp of it, and I kind of have learnt the ways of it, and I've essentially kind of self-taught myself, because that's how it is really, you're self-teaching. I haven't had anyone show me the job on hand or anything like that. I've essentially had to go out there, learn it all for myself. So yeah, tip number one is do not late cancel a session. So basically if let's say it's 1800 hours now, right, and you've got a session in the morning for 9 AM and you think, oh, don't really feel like getting up 9 AM. If you cancel it, you're going to have a late cancellation, because it's not 24 hours notice. If you had a session for 19 the next day, you could essentially cancel it within, so you're giving them more than 24 hours. So you always need to give them 24 hours notice before cancelling a session. I fell foul of this. And I believe I've essentially been blacklisted because of this. Blacklisted, not permanently, but whilst I've got this sort of bad cancellation rate, because I basically cancelled about 5 or 10 sessions or something like that within 24 hours. I had no idea. I thought it was like fully flexible booking service, right? So I would say tip number one, do not cancel a session within 24 hours. So plan ahead better, right? If you think, oh, I might not want to work the night shift tomorrow night, then don't book those hours in, because you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to cancel, you're going to possibly lose more hours. So the next week might be like a lean week, and then you might not even be able to build up the hours back to even and get it in or whatever. So it might cause you some trouble down the line. Tip number two is do not log off early, or do not log on late essentially. Yeah, don't log on late. So if let's say your shift is between 11 AM and 16, right, something like that, let's say it's between 11 and 16 and you log on at 11:03, right, that's late. So you haven't joined part of that session, right? And let's say on the other hand, you think, oh, I've dropped an order off at 15:55, right, and there's no point in me doing another order now, so you go offline at 15:55, you've missed a percentage of that session, right? So then you go offline early, you're going to have a bad attendance record. I've actually done this through naivety, essentially, not knowing. So I've arrived a little bit late and maybe logged on at like 11:02, and then on the other hand, I've logged off early at like 15:57 or something, because I've thought, oh, there's no point in me, I've only got 3 minutes left, there's no point in me going and doing an order now, because that will take me until 16:10 or something. Well, it doesn't work like that. If you say that you you know, are going to work till 16, even if that means picking up an order at 15:59 and 50 seconds, then so be it. You get to sign that order. So I would allow yourself more time. So if you think, oh, I need to be at home at exactly 17, then think carefully before, you know, booking your sessions on till 16. Because if you do leave a session early or late, you'll have a bad attendance record because of it, and this will actually go against you when booking more shifts in the future. This is what's happened to me now, because I didn't know this, but I'm certainly never going to do it again, and I'm certainly going to try and warn as many people as I can about it, essentially. So I would say tip number three is essentially have try and be as quick as you can with the orders. So as soon as you get into the restaurant, right, well, in fact, even before you've walked into the restaurant, click on the app arrived, and then as you're walking in, right, announce yourself immediately. Don't just stand there, right, because these people are busy, they've got so much shit on. But just try and bulldoze through though. If there's a bunch of customers there, fuck the customers, because essentially another customer has already booked it online 20-30 minutes earlier anyway, so they are essentially ahead of the queue. So don't worry about queuing. You know, if you have to go to Burger King or whatever and there's 10 people in line, don't go to the back of the queue, jump straight into the front, say, hi, I'm here, Deliveroo, order number such and such. This is exactly what I do. I just barge my way in and straight to the front, because at the end of the day, I'm a courier, I'm not a customer. I'm a courier, time's money, and there's no there's no messing around, right? It's just straight in, straight out with the goods, and then as soon as you've got the goods, click collect, and then as I'm walking back, I'm clicking on the app to find out where the customer is, and I'm sort of looking, oh yeah, I know roughly where that is, and then I'm clipping it back on. So I've got this this phone case, and literally it's like a quarter-turn Garmin one. So as soon as I'm back to my bike, clip it in, plug the thing in, and I'm good to go. Plug the charger in, I'm good to go. So that's another thing as well. Be efficient, right? I keep the lock in an accessible place so I can just quickly lock it and unlock it, and don't be dilly-dallying around. Essentially, if you feel like you're going to be a long time and you know you need to use the toilet or you need to text your friend or whatever, then so be it. But I wouldn't do any of these things on the job whilst you're waiting, because it's just wasting time that, you know, you could be ordering as well. So another tip I would give as well, tip number 4, don't be too what's the word, don't, like, if you're on a bicycle, right, don't, and obviously do this at your own risk, right, but I wouldn't be like following all of the road rules 100%, right, because you're going through the traffic and it's like light after light after light after light, and you get these pedestrian lights, maybe someone's pressed it, walked across the road, then later it turns to red, and you come up to the pedestrian crossing, right, and it's red, but there's no one coming through. Now, if you deem that safe, blast across. I fucking do it all the time. Now, if you'd be like, oh, I want to sit at a red light in the desert, then so be it. But the way I see it, if there's no one at a red light, and you know it's a pedestrian red light, I'm fucking going through. On the other hand, if there's no one at a traffic red light, then go through. Whatever, you know, if it's safe, then do it. You know, but obviously always use common sense, right? It's like if you pull up to a T-junction, right, there's no one coming, then go. It's the same with a traffic light system. It may be exactly the same at T-junction. If there's no one coming, then go. And another thing as well, pretty much everywhere else in the world, people turn left on a red light, right? Not a problem. England, nobody turns left on a red light. Bullshit, in my opinion. So I'm always turning left at red lights when safe, right? So obviously if there's a huge flow of traffic all in the left-hand lane, then obviously I'm not going to just blast across, right? What I might do on the other hand is I might nip onto the pavement where it's safe, and I might pop off on the road later down the line where it's safe, right? So you can obviously do this at your own risk. But yeah, I mean, don't be afraid to pop on the pavement here and there as well. Pop on the road, pop on the pavement. At the end of the day, you've got a job to do. Do it as safe as possible, but don't be like letting stupid like red tape and shit get in your way of getting as many orders done as you can, right? So that's another tip. I would say tip number 5 is obviously your bike is now your work vehicle, so maintain the shit out of it, right? So that means you're going to be riding it a lot, so keep it clean. I'm not on about like the frame and the aesthetics, right? So the drivetrain, keep the drivetrain clean. A clean bike is a fast bike. Keep all the parts clean as well. So if you've just oiled it, right, with like, let's say wet lube or whatever, right, and then you ride out and it rains and it gets shitted up, the bike, as soon as you get home, get on it, rinse it off, and then it's good to go again, right, for the next day. You don't need to like re-lube it again, whatever, straight away, but just rinse all the crud off, because if you go out the next day, that dry grit is just going to be like grinding all of your gears, like literally all of the grit on the chain, right? It's just going to be grinding. Every turn is going to be grinding the cogs away. I've just had to replace my cassette. I'm guessing I didn't used to maintain the bike very well, and I had the whole wet season in Thailand, so that's another thing as well. So maintain your bike as much as you can. I've even bought one of these stands. This is one of them bike stands. So it's oh shit. Another thing I would say as well is another tip, so tip number 6, I was gonna try and keep this to number 5, but this has got me thinking. Learn how to maintain your bike yourself, because the last thing you want to do is, if you're doing this kind of job, is you want to be running to the bike shop every 5 minutes and 50 quid here, 30 quid there, 20 quid there, when just simply get one of these, look up on YouTube, look up online, whatever, and learn how to do it yourself. You're going to save so much money. For example, yesterday, I didn't quite do this myself, but I had a friend who who actually had the tool for cassette removal, and he essentially helped me remove the cassette. Now, that would have been 10, 15, 20 quid just to remove the cassette and put the new cassette back on. And it was a 10-minute job, right? So invest in the tools, right? All of these things are tax deductible anyway, so invest in the tools, invest in a good stand so that you can tweak your gears and things like that, and just basically keep your bike running smooth. Learn how to maintain it yourself, and then you're not going to have to mess around with going into the bike shop all the time. And also, this brings me to tip number 7. I was going to try and only do 5. Tip number 7 is carry equipment with you if you have like a puncture or something, or you know, if something comes loose, carry some equipment with you, some basic equipment. So get yourself like a saddlebag or whatever. So I would carry you know, at least one of those bike multi-tools. I would carry a spare tube, a pump, and possibly even a patch kit as well, because who knows, you might have a couple of punctures in one day, and if you've only got one tube, then you're fucked, aren't you? So carry a patch kit with you as well. That could be handy as well, even if maybe you go over an awful piece of glass and it actually goes through your tyre, and then you put a new tube in, and then of course something else goes straight through that big hole. So if you did have anything like that, you could then quickly patch the tyre up as well. So then that will be good for probably another 1000k, to be honest, or something like that. So yeah, carry equipment with you, carry what you need, invest in, like I said, I have this bike case. So invest in the good equipment, right? You don't want to be riding along with your phone in your hand, looking at where you've got to go, because that's A, it's not quick, and B, it's dangerous. So you want to be as efficient as possible. Invest in all of the right equipment, because essentially, I know you might think, oh, I don't want to invest much in this company or whatever, or in this job. Essentially, at the end of the day, if you want to be like a joiner or something, you can't just turn up to someone's house to build a wooden frame or whatever without a saw, can you? You know, you have to bring the tools with you. So it's the same with this job, essentially. So these are my tips. My mouth has got really dry, so I'm sorry about that. These are the tips. I hope you've all found it useful, and if you've got something from this, leave a comment section down below. If working for Deliveroo is something that interests you, I've actually got a referral link in the link down below, and you can get £100 after 20 deliveries, and I can get £100 after you've done 20 deliveries, so it's win-win. So anyway, give this video an upvote if you like it, and I'll see you in the next video, everyone.